I'm not going to explain what the Mandela effect is because by now we all know. And if you didn't know, then you wouldn't have clicked on this video. The Mandela effect is easy to make fun of until it affects you. I thought the Monopoly Man had a monocle, and I thought the Kit Kat logo had a dash in it. But the fact I'm wrong about those things doesn't make me upset. And when talking about The Empire Strikes Back, you're obviously going to say, "Luke, I am your father," if your quote doesn't include the full context. It wouldn't make sense otherwise. And in my opinion, there's no reason that wouldn't include James Earl Jones himself.
When I first saw the dialogue that said, "Luke, I am your father," I said to myself, he's lying.
These memories are easy to get wrong, and I feel like that applies to the vast majority of Mandela effects. That being said, there is one Mandela effect I found out about a year ago, and it still deeply confuses me. For context, I left high school in 2010 at age 18, and my older brother had just recently left home. A few years prior, when I was still going to school, I would guess this was 2007 or so, when I was about 15, my brother and I were watching TV and a Subway ad came on. My brother said to me, "Hey, remember that Jared guy who used to be in all these ads? He's not in them anymore because he went to prison for being a paedophile." That's what my brother told me, and from that time on, I still saw Subway ads on TV all the time, but they never featured Jared, for obvious reasons. Jared was remembered only for his crimes, and as far as the Subway Corporation was concerned, the man didn't exist anymore.
You seem to take a scholarly interest in the new dictionary, Smith.
Oh, hardly scholarly.
Have you seen any of the material we're using?
No, Syme told me about it.
Syme?
Yes, he works over...
Syme no longer exists.
Fast forward all the way to 2015, and people are suddenly talking about Jared Fogle again. I'm confused as to why such an old case is in the media again. I hadn't heard of Jared since around 2007 when he went to prison. To me, it was old news. The guy had been in prison for years, and I hadn't seen him in a Subway ad since I was a kid, so I wondered why people were suddenly talking about him again. But I didn't bother looking into it. So that was that, and I didn't give it much thought. Fast forward a few more years, and I see this video by Moneybag73. He's a YouTuber who talks about the Mandela effect. He posted this video saying that Jared Fogle didn't go to prison in the late 2000s, like many remember, but in 2015. At first I laughed, thinking that this guy didn't do his research. Well, it turns out that according to current history, Jared Fogle didn't go to prison in 2007 or 2008. He went to prison in 2015. 5 years after I left high school. I watched TV nearly every day between 2008 and 2015, and I never saw a Subway ad that included Jared. If I had seen Jared in a Subway ad during that time, I would have been shocked. When the Jared Fogle stuff all went down, I was only a kid. In 2015, I was 23. If you want to try and convince me that my memory is wrong and that Jared was in fact the Subway spokesperson all the way until 2015, as reality states now, you may as well try to tell me that Harvey Weinstein is still producing movies today. I'd honestly find that easier to believe. I don't have the best memory in the world, but I've never mistaken something that happened when I was 15 to something that happened when I was 23. Okay, so to understand how this makes me feel, imagine if you read in the news today that formerly loved comedian Bill Cosby had new allegations against him. You and I know that he was already convicted back in 2018 and sent to prison, but that history is gone. And now history states that Bill Cosby was loved by everyone until last Tuesday. Maybe there are other people who share your memories, but you're simply mistaken. Would you accept this as a fault of your mind and the minds of many others, or would it drive you crazy? The FBI investigation against Fogle did begin in 2007, so in the universe where I come from, the FBI are apparently much more competent at catching nonces. I don't want to be one of those people who take the Mandela effect super seriously. I know how Occam's razor works, and I consider myself a critical thinker. At least I try to be. But I will just never get over this one. I don't know how to explain it. I don't believe that history can change, or that people can unknowingly travel to alternate universes. I don't even know how that would work. I read a YouTube comment one time that said something like, "I'm not gonna believe in any of this stuff unless something really crazy happens, like the Twin Towers manifest back into existence." I agreed with that comment at the time, believing that misremembering corporate logos or movie quotes was not evidence of anything. But I can't just let go of my distinct childhood memory of Jared Fogle's arrest and subsequent disappearance from all media, with the only exception being the occasional pedo bear meme. It's like a small piece of history was dumped in the memory hole, and I'm not supposed to question the change.
What have you got there, Smith?
This photograph was between the pages of the Gazette.
What photograph?
Jones and Rutherford. They confessed to aiding the underground and being in Eurasia during Hate Week. But here it says...
What are you talking about, Smith? I don't see any photograph. No photograph of the traitors Jones and Rutherford exists, does it?